Hi, and welcome to episode 4 of The Adventures of UberDad. In this episode, we're going to be covering probably the most important part to you if you're thinking about driving for Uber, what it's like to go online and drive for the first time. At this point, you've gone ahead and gone online and signed up to drive, which means that you've gone ahead and loaded up your driver's license, your registration, you've gone through a background certification check, you've done your vehicle inspection, and you've received notification from Uber that you are qualified and you can go ahead and download your Uber Partners app. That app is separate from the Uber app itself, and so if you're going to be driving for Uber and you already have an Uber app, you want to make sure to download this one separate, and they're going to be used separately. You download the app and you open it up, and initially you're offline. You'll see a map with some title bars beneath the map. We'll cover some of those in later videos to go more in detail about earnings, your ratings, those kind of things. But to start driving, all you need to do is go up to the very top of the screen above the map and hit Go Online. Once you do that, you are active. You are visible to other Uber drivers or Uber riders out there. And you can either stay put or drive around. I've heard different opinions. In my case, I like to sort of cruise around my neighborhood. And I find that as I go, people that are within my vicinity will tend to pick me up and send me on my way. So you'll basically drive along for a little bit or sit in place. And at some point, if you're connected up to the audio properly, you're going to hear a beeping sound and you're going to see a circle that appears with a timer. It's a blue timeline that kind of goes around counterclockwise, and you have, I think it's roughly 30 seconds, 20 seconds to go ahead and decide whether or not you want to take that ride. If you choose to select it, you basically hit the button, and that will immediately tell you who it is that you're going to be picking up and give you a location. Now, one of the things that they will ask you to do when you set up your partner app will be to set up whether or not you want to use the Uber mapping or you want to use something like Google Maps or Waze. My recommendation is to go ahead and make sure that you're navigating using Waze or Google Maps. I personally like to use Waze. I find that it's got great traffic considerations. It does have its problems. I'll cover that in a later video app, and I find it a little bit easier to read. Once you see that, you'll see the location on the map on the Uber app, but you can go ahead and hit at the top left a blue arrow that says navigate. That will go ahead and open up Waze or Google Maps, whichever app that you choose, and that will give you step-by-step instructions to go ahead and get to the end user. One thing to know about Waze, and this may be the case with Google Maps as well, is that it doesn't always tell you which side of the road. You're going to be seeing a pen on your Uber app, which is basically a little person that marks on the side of the road where they are, but you're also going to be seeing an address at the top. Now, the way this works is an Uber passenger will go ahead and put a pin down as to where they are, what location, and it will likewise try and match that up with an address. Sometimes they don't match. I generally try and go by the pin, but that can be misleading if they're in a large apartment complex or a mall per se, and they go ahead and they drop their pin at some location which isn't where the entrance or exit is. So that is something to consider when looking at it. But in general, you can go ahead and use Waze or Google Maps to get yourself most of the way there, which will help you navigate traffic, and the maps are easy to use. And then when you get close, you generally switch over to your Uber app, and you just follow to where the pin is, and you pull over to the side of the road and wait. The passenger, if they're not already there, is given, I think, 2 to 5 minutes to go ahead and show up for the ride. Generally, the rule of thumb, I believe, is that after 2 minutes, you can go ahead and do a cancellation if the driver isn't there or if the rider isn't there. I personally like to wait at least 5 minutes. About 2.5 minutes into the wait, I will go ahead and send a message. Now, that could be done by going to the little document at the top right of the corner. You hit that, and that's called the waybill. And you'll see the name of your passenger at the arrival, and you'll see the ability to go ahead and message your passenger. Generally, I find that people like to use Messenger as opposed to a phone call, although sometimes I will have passengers call me directly, in which case I'll go ahead and call them back. I'll go ahead and once I'm safely over to the side of the road and parked someplace legally, if it's possible, I will go ahead and wait. And if I've waited a minute and a half or something like that, I might go ahead and message them a little bit of a text to say, good morning, good afternoon, Uber here. I'll tell them my location. They know what my car looks like and what I look like based on their selection on their side of the app. But sometimes I'll give them a little jostle and say, I'm in the light blue Prius. I'm parked behind the big yellow bus. I'm right in front. Or if I have a question because the address and the pin don't line up, I'll go ahead and I'll reach out right away for that. Generally, the rider shows up within a couple of minutes, and when they get in the car, it's up to them. Sometimes they sit in the front seat, sometimes they sit in the back seat. They'll get in the car, and then I'll go ahead and start drive, the green tag at the bottom. You swipe that, and at the top, it'll generally tell you the destination if they've entered it. A lot of riders tend to not want to go ahead and put in the destination. The reason being is that they feel if it's a short ride, that some drivers don't want to pick them up. So a lot of people are clever, and they wait until someone's already been assigned to come and pick them up, and then they'll enter the destination right before you arrive. When the destination's entered, you can go ahead and hit navigate just like you did before, and that'll give you step-by-step instructions to go to wherever it is they're going. If they haven't entered a destination, you can prompt them and say, where are we going? They often say, I'll go ahead and enter that destination for you, but drive straight ahead or head towards this place or head towards that place. It's fine to go ahead and start driving if they're going to enter the destination. If they want to tell you the destination, go ahead and enter it into the tab bar at the very top window, and then that will go ahead and find it for you within the Uber app, and then you can hit navigation yourself, and that'll give you step-by-step instructions to go ahead and get where you're going. And then it's as simple as driving the person there. I believe the way it's currently structured, you get paid 75 cents. No, I'm sorry, it's 90 cents per mile, 15 cents per minute. When you're dealing with Uber Pool, the price structuring is a little bit different, and I know that sometimes there's flat rates and whatnot involved. And this is not accounting for surge pricing, which I'll cover in a later episode, so this one doesn't get too long. Once you drive to your destination, generally I check with the rider as to whether or not where they'd like to be let off. I look for the address. I look where the pen's going to take me. I generally switch back to the Uber app because I find that it's a little more pinpoint in terms of its accuracy as to where we're supposed to be, whereas sometimes Waze or Google Maps will go ahead and add in an extra turn or do a street adjacent. So it's always important to check between the two and make sure that you're reconciling with the original address that they input on the Uber app. At that point, you drop the rider off and say your goodbyes. You go ahead and say complete trip by the sliding the red bar at the bottom. It'll ask you for a rating. If you want to put a rating in there, you put anywhere from 1 to 5 stars, and then you're ready to go ahead and drive off for your next trip. You can either start driving or you can stay where you are and you can wait for the next rider to go ahead and ping you. And sometimes this even happens before the ride is complete, and that's something I'll cover in more advanced subjects a little bit later on. One thing you'll notice I didn't cover in this was how to deal with the passenger when in the car. I think I'll cover that in the next video, so this one doesn't get overlong, but there is a protocol to how to deal with people, whether or not to talk to them, how to treat them. It depends on who they are, where they're going, the time of day, and just your ability to read what these people would be interested in. Okay, so that's the end of episode 4. Hopefully that was helpful. If it is helpful, once again, I'd like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe to Drive to Uber through my referral code. There'll be a link that I provide through a card at the end of this video, or you can just go ahead and follow that link and you'll see my referral code, which you can input directly if you go to uber.com, sign to drive. There'll be a point where it asks you for a referral code. What that means is that basically you'll get paid and I'll get paid a little sum of money after you've driven a certain number of times, and that'll just be added to the total amount of money that they pay you out weekly. So it's a great thing for me and it's a great thing for you, and you'll get your referral code as soon as you sign up, and you can do the same thing. So thank you for watching. I'm looking forward to talking to you in the next video, and that's it for today from the Adventures of Uberdad. Take care. Bye-bye.